You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review for Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves is a 2023 action-adventure fantasy film based on the popular role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons. Film is directed by John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, starring Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Justice Smith, and Regé-Jean Page, along with Hugh Grant. The film follows a charming thief and his band of unlikely adventurers as they set off on an epic adventure to find a long-lost relic to defeat a powerful foe. I've never actually played Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm really into The Legend of Vox Machina, so there's that. I also know of the game and quite a bit about it, actually, from friends who play the game, who have been DMs of campaigns. And really, I probably should play the game because I'm a huge fantasy nerd. If you know me and my movie taste, yeah, I love a good, fun fantasy. Throw in dragons, throw in beasts, a fun adventure. I'm usually all on board. And I thought these trailers looked charming. They looked funny and fun. It looked like a good time. So when this Amazon Prime member screening popped up, I jumped at the chance to get to see this film a little bit early as a Prime member. I have to say, I actually had a lot of fun with Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This was just the good time I was hoping for heading into that movie theater. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. I think our casts are all fantastic. Chris Pine is perfect in this leading role. He has the charm, he has the snark, he feels just the right amount of dangerous to bring all of these characteristics together in a lovable but quite flawed heroic character. Michelle Rodriguez obviously is here to play the strong woman, the tough girl on the team, and she does that with ease. Her action set pieces are actually some of the most fun actual action in the film. But something I wasn't really expecting from her character was kind of the dumb humor she brings, and it really worked for me. Her delivery was really deadpan, and it nailed the type of humor her character was meant to give. Justice Smith was also wonderful here, as was Sophia Lillis. I thought our entire main cast and crew did a fantastic job. And then we have Regé-Jean Page, who first of all just looked unfairly gorgeous in this film. That hairstyle suits him. He was literally just like glowing and emanating from the screen, but he was amazing. He was probably my biggest surprise in the movie. Very different fashion from Michelle Rodriguez's character. He also brings a different type of really literal deadpan humor, a la Drax in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Very straightforward, straight shooter, but still has this wonderful, awkward charm to him. He was hilarious and he was a badass. He gets some action set pieces as well, and he's fantastic. And then, of course, Hugh Grant is just chewing up scenery in the best ways possible. All of the action in this film is also a positive because it's a lot of fun. It really leans into the kind of pulpy adventure fantasy of it all and delivers humorous, fun action set pieces, whether we're dealing with fantasy species and beasts, or if it's just hand to hand, human against human type of battles when we're escaping prisons or something of that sort. All of it is a lot of fun. It has a high energy factor that keeps the film really entertaining. As for the beasts and the CGI, I think for the most part it actually looks quite good. All of the different monsters and all of the different effects that go into this film I was shocked at how great they all looked because, well, when you go into a pulpy fantasy film like this, things could definitely go awry with those special effects. But this one pretty much nailed it across the board. Maybe one or two wonky looking things here or there, but by and large, it looks great. Then what doesn't work so well when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves? Well, the story is definitely the weakest aspect to the film. Now, I'm not going to say, it's overly convoluted because, well, it's based off of a game that gets convoluted. You build a world and you build a scenario as you go, a campaign. And so it's hard to contain that for a movie like this. So I actually think the convoluted nature of the plot and the story is fine. And they even really poke fun at it with a joke with this running gag of rules in the film itself. But the screenplay just tries to do a little bit too much. Family dynamic aspect to this film was doing a little bit too much. Yes, you want to get to know these characters and they need characterization, but really the only ones we get any sort of backstory to are Michelle Rodriguez's character and Chris Pine's, primarily Chris Pine's character. Just I don't know. I never fully clicked with the whole father-daughter family first type of deal that was going on with this character, and that really provides the driving force to why he does anything. While trying to add stakes or more personal depth to the story, honestly, it kind of just drug things down for me. Every time we really delved into that, it slowed the pace, and I just wanted to get back to having some good old fantasy fun. Really, the writing by and large isn't the best. Outside of probably the jokey stuff, the more sincere dialogue, and never quite feels sincere. We do have to do a lot of exposition dumps. If that is something that bothers you, be ready. They're here. I don't mind too much, it's particularly in fantasy when we do exposition dumps, but if you don't like it, be ready. Well, I think it stays in tone with kind of poking fun at the game itself and some of the rules and conveniences. We have a lot of conveniences in this story. But overall, I think it knows that, and it knows a lot of its faults. It understands a lot of these shortcomings. It's not able to maybe overcome them all, but it's aware. And the film really does a great job at poking fun at those things, at the game, at the film itself, kind of at fantasy film tropes. And those are some of the funniest jokes in the film. Overall, Dungeons and Dragons knows exactly the film it was setting out to make. It didn't try to turn this into some dark, serious fantasy movie that's meant for Oscars or great destinies. No, it knew it wanted to be this hopey, fun, action, adventure fantasy film. And that is exactly what it is. It delivers on the promise, it delivers on what those trailers sell you. There's a lot of fun, magical battles going on, a lot of meta humor that works really well. Ultimately, I just had a really good time with Dungeons and Dragons. It finally gave the property a good adaptation to the big screen. So if you are a fan of fantasy, if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons, if you play the games, I definitely recommend checking out Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I think there's a lot of inside jokes that people who play the games are going to love it even more. So I think it's respectful, it's in the energy of the game while still poking some inside baseball fun at the property in which it came. If you're not into kind of pulpy fantasy movies, I don't know that this one will be for you, but it's still worth checking out, right? If you like them trailers, hit it for a full price ticket. And if it didn't do much for you, well, then I would say still check it out, but wait for streaming. That was my review for Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves? Have you played the games? Are you also a fan of Vox Machina? Let me know all of that down in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.